it's a certain amount of tough love with me, and that you have to have, because you never want to be taken advantage of. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Octavia, and I am back with another video. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, hey, how you doing? My name is Octavia. I'm 23, almost 24. Birthday in November. Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars. And I'm from Washington, D.C. Now, being as though I put out a video on Marion Barry, I wanted to tell y'all how I feel about crack addicts, and it could be addicts in general, because you don't know what a person is on who is on the street, you know what I'm saying, that lives on the street. You don't know everybody's addictions. It may vary, but the behavior is the same, and the effect sometimes is the same or worse. I also want to talk about the difference from a functional addict to a full-fledged addict, you know, and I want to talk about that because of the Marion Barry video. So, my view of addicts in general is coming from my own life experiences and me having family members, close family members, who are on hard drugs. And some are functional, some are full-fledged, but that's not to deflect on the issue. You know, the issue is that all addicts, you know, whether you functional or you don't have a job and you on the street or whatever the case is, and that's all you do, whichever you talking about is the same thing, because they all have a problem, you know, that breaks families apart, that, you know, is destructive to how a family operates. And it doesn't really seem like a family anymore, you know. I did want to say the difference if you didn't know, because some people have family members who are on hard drugs, but they can't keep a job, and it's a certain level of hiding to what they do, you know, to their addiction. They basically have certain aspects of themselves that they keep up, you know, such as appearances, looks, having a job, keeping a job, and having support from family. Whereas full-on addicts, you know, they push the limits more, because if all you're doing is drugs, then your mind gets more fucked up than, you know, most. And I'm just saying that from me seeing it, you know, from me seeing the effect. In a previous video where I was talking about the 16-year-old that was a prostitute, I talked about me getting triggered by crack addicts specifically, and I mainly only get irritated with those close family members. Like, if a person who is on hard drugs is always in the proximity, you know, is always in close proximity to me, it's like my vibe gets thrown off, you know. I get irritated, and I can't say that I get irritated from people who are on the streets that have a problem, because I just feel like I try to ignore it as much as possible. I try to ignore it as much as I can, especially if it's somebody who is out on the street. But the feeling isn't as aggressive, you know, of me being irritated. I feel like I've always been around people who have had either a drug problem or a serious alcohol problem, and I can never really wrap my head around it. All I know is that I've always been affected either this way or that way by a loved one's drug or alcohol abuse. Over the years, it's just been a lot of different obstacles. One thing that I know about crack addicts from my personal experience is people who resort to hard drugs such as crack have been through very hard situations and times in their lives, and certain adversities like losing children either to death or the system, getting shot, being raped. I know that there is a reason, but my thoughts have always been, you can't run from trauma. My thoughts have always been, as a little girl, even till now, is that you have to rise. You have to grow from what you've been through. Because if you don't grow from it, you tearing your own self down. For years and years, I just can't. And it sucked for me to see that, you know. Because I wanted my folks to just deal with what they've been through. You know, I've heard so many of the same stories of horrible things that have happened to my folks from them. And, you know, I almost got tired of hearing about those stories because you're not dealing with it. You're not hearing yourself. You know, you're not willing to hear the trauma, accept it, and move forward. And I know it's tough, but if you go through life, and that's years upon years upon years of saying these same stories and thinking about the same things, you're not growing. You're not growing. You're staying stagnant. You're staying in the same place. You have to positively rationalize going through living life and thinking better so you're not affecting your loved ones in such a harsh way. And it's more than affecting your loved ones, it's affecting your children in such a huge way. As a child, I felt a lot of that was a burden to me, you know, and it's not my trauma. It's not my hard situations to deal with. It's theirs. I can tell you how crack cocaine has affected my family in such a huge way and continues to affect my family in such a huge way. There have been countless sleepless nights, loud music all times of the night, screaming, smacking, arguing. It's so much that I can mention that it's almost too much. And I've heard people say, when they see crack addicts like on the street, they think to themselves, I wonder how they got to this place. I wonder what they've been through to get them here. And I could really say from a Washingtonian's standpoint, where there are a lot of crack addicts and homeless people, you know, left and right. I've said that a few times, but I didn't say that much. And I still don't say that much, you know, to myself as I'm walking and I'm seeing, you know, this person and that person and that person. It's almost too many people to question it. Even with knowing what some folks have been through, I still don't understand how you could resort to and continue to use such a destructive drug. I get being lonely or going through abuse and certain trauma that will follow you for the rest of your life. But you have to deal with those issues and cope in a healthy way. I never want to be insensitive towards anybody's problem, but it's a certain amount of tough love with me, and that you have to have, and that goes into it, because you never want to be taken advantage of by someone with an addiction. Someone with an addiction, they're going to continue to try that. You know, if it's an avenue that works, they're going to continue to try that avenue. And if it's you, family or no family, you know, if you are the avenue, they're going to continue to try to use you. And it's tough to say no. You gotta work on certain things, you know. it was always tough for me to say no to loved ones, you know. But you gotta remember, this serious addiction is going to turn y'all relationship upside down anyway. You know, you gotta set boundaries. It's just a lot that goes into it that people don't think about when you talk shit about or look down upon a crack addict. Behind this crack addict, behind this addict, is a lot of people who love this person and have been through a lot because of this person's addiction. You know, it's tough to want to keep those connections even if it's family, because like I said, a lot happens to you. As a result, you turn into a totally different person as a result of keeping those connections. So, you know, it has been some people who have disowned their own kids because their addiction gets in the way and it's nothing else they can do. You know, you've been used to a certain extent where you don't want to be used anymore. If you have nobody in your family that is on hard drugs such as crack or heroin or whatever the case is, don't laugh, you know, don't judge, don't talk shit, because a lot of people nowadays are getting hooked on crack and no hard shit have happened to them. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been through shit yet. But you on heroin, you on meth, you on crack. It's a lot of that shit going on nowadays. And that's the difference from people in the 60s and 70s, 80s, even the 90s. They was going through tough ass shit. And nowadays, it's people who is way younger that's on the shit. You know, you can get addicted, you know. So don't throw rocks and hide your hands. Don't do that shit. Don't judge. Don't say nothing about nobody who's on it. You know, because you could be on it. Your mother could be on it. Anybody that you love can be on it. It's that simple, and your life could have turned out a lot differently. So when you see a person like that, be grateful for your own life. Be grateful that you got people that love you and that aren't on hard drugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm just tired of people judging, throwing rocks, hiding their hands, acting like shit can't happen to them. It can happen to you just as fast as a blink of an eye, you know. Let's not do that. Let's move forward respectfully. It's your girl, Octavia, and I will see y'all in my next video. Make sure y'all comment y'all thoughts below. Comment how y'all day is going, what y'all been into, you know what I'm saying? Tap in the comments, like this video, subscribe, and I will see y'all then.